A small New Jersey airport is now under scrutiny for becoming Jeffrey Epstein's travel hub for his private jets and alleged sex trafficking ring. According to an article from the North Jersey Record, Epstein was allegedly able to fly underage girls across the country and sometimes the world from Teterboro Airport. Aviation security experts say relaxed security requirements may be to blame. For more on this, I want to bring in the writer of that article, columnist for the North Jersey Record, Chris Maag. Chris, what kind of regulations, how are the regulations different, I guess, for private planes versus when you get on an airline at nearby Newark Airport?
Sure thing. So what happens at an airline at an airport like Teterboro, especially when you own your own plane, is, and if you're flying domestically, is nothing. You can ride, as Jeffrey Epstein did 730 times, you can ride in the back of your SUV through 2 different security checks. Your driver might present an ID for himself, but nobody in the back. The SUV would have deposited him in front of his plane, right at the stairs. He goes up the stairs, the doorway closes, and that's all that anyone sees of him. And for domestic flights, there's no check. The pilot might have, well, the pilot would have to file a flight plan telling the FAA and air traffic control where he planned to go, and that's it.
What about a manifest?
Manifests are only required for international flights. Pilots may choose to keep them on all flights. That's how we learned so much about what Epstein did in his planes, because his pilot kept an unofficial flight log. But an actual manifest for who's on the plane, what luggage they're carrying, is only required on inbound international flights. Those flights are also a bit more stringent because they need to, everyone needs to present their passport, everyone aboard, for customs inspection. And customs may choose to inspect the baggage in the baggage area. They also sometimes take a Geiger counter around the plane. So there's a little scrutiny there. But obviously not enough to catch Epstein, who flew internationally regularly with girls under age 18.
And there's nothing illegal about taking a teen on a trip on a private aircraft?
No. The closest that we get in the United States is Customs and Border Protection have a rule where if you're coming in from international destinations, you should bring a letter of consent saying, I have the parents' agreement, the parents' consent that I can fly with this teen or this child, but that's not required. Other countries do require it, we don't.
If he had been flying domestically, or flying internationally, but commercially with someone, one of his accusers has said that she traveled with him from Palm Beach, Florida to Belgium, Morocco, Paris. If she'd been on a commercial airliner, would there have been any different scrutiny of him traveling with her?
I guess the best answer is maybe. On arrival in foreign destination, it really depends on what their laws are there locally. But obviously they would have had to pass through TSA. That's a lot more eyes. As we know, going through Newark, going through LaGuardia, hundreds of people might look at you and see you. And if there's an inappropriate relationship, there's a better chance that those workers who are trained to recognize signs of sex trafficking would notice it. At a place like Teterboro, very few people have the opportunity to see them in that short period of time between the SUV and the plane. And those folks have big disincentives not to say anything.
You know, what it sounds like you're saying is that there's a hole, a gap here in the eyes that are on this. In that, if you're the FAA, you're a regulatory body, you're not a law enforcement agency. You're focused on the safe operation of aircraft. If you're the TSA, your focus is commercial and is focused on keeping explosives and terrorists off planes.
Right.
So then it would fall to Customs and Border Protection, or the Port Authority police, in this case, who have jurisdiction over this airport, to spot something like human trafficking.
Yes.
Is there not a cohesive sort of plan to look for human trafficking? I mean, airlines have trained their employees, certainly, and the TSA screeners have been trained to look for that as well, but you don't have those people at a private airport.
You don't have as many people. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, which owns Teterboro Airport, says that all airport employees at Teterboro have been trained to recognize possible indications of sex trafficking. Port Authority Police Department really is, as far as we can tell, pretty much just patrolling the boundaries of Teterboro, making sure unauthorized people don't get onto the grounds. What happens inside the grounds is really up to these 5 fixed base operators who have broad discretion in terms of what they're looking for.
And Chris, real quick, what did the Port Authority, what did the FAA say to you as far as your reporting? Well,
it's strange. I, as a former transportation reporter, have pretty good relationships with the Port Authority press office and also with FAA. They get on the phone, and even when they can't tell me much, they might get on the phone and explain why. This story is unique. Only on this story have spokespeople for both agencies refused to get on the phone. If they send anything, a little email just quoting the rules and regulations that they're following. They do not want to talk about this, and they have not told us why.
Chris, thank you very much. Good reporting.
Thank you.